All right. I am live with Maria. Maria is in the beautiful Dominican Republic. I'm jealous of your beautiful weather and beautiful beaches. How you doing today?
I'm great, Nick. I'm really happy to be here with you. Good morning, everybody.
Good. You ready for some fun?
Yeah, of course.
Get your questions lined up?
They're here in front of me.
Awesome. Throw your first question at me. What's your most pressing question that you want to ask?
Okay, so one of the hardest things I've gone through the past year or so is that I got divorced almost 2 years ago. And one of the things that I wanted to do is perhaps, contemplating moving to Canada, back to Canada with my daughter. But my ex-husband is not making that process smooth. His proposal is that I go and settle down and leave my daughter and then come back and get her. So how do I deal with that feeling of frustration of perhaps, not having the opportunity to have better life for her and myself?
Yeah, and that's a great first starter question. I'm sure there's a lot of people that can relate to what you're asking. I've had this exact same conversation with other people before, so you're definitely not the first person to ask this kind of question. So when it comes to the law of attraction, Abraham Hicks says you create your own reality. She doesn't say you create part of your reality. She doesn't say you can create some of your reality. You can literally create all of your reality. And if you want to get deep into the guts of law of attraction, all of reality is a reflection of our own consciousness, right? So oftentimes, just because our mind can't perceive of how something can play out or how something can occur, how something can manifest, we kind of give up on the possibility of it happening, right? So just because your mind can't figure out a way that you and your daughter can both move to Canada doesn't mean that it's not possible. So I'm a firm believer that we don't need to compromise on anything, right? So Abraham Hicks has never told somebody in the hot seat, oh, you can manifest this, but you have to give up on that, right? That's not it. That's not how our physical reality works. So what you want to do is, first off, you want to get really clear on what you want. And I think you're already there already, which is you want to be living somewheres in Canada and you want to be able to take your daughter with you. Yes? Yes. So once you're clear on what you want, then it's about vibrationally lining up with it. So it's about understanding that, first off, it's an attraction based reality, not an assertion based reality. So your reality will always be a match to what you're putting out vibrationally. So your ex husband, he can't assert anything onto you. He can't control you in any way. He can't prevent you from manifesting anything at all. Because if you can match vibrationally the reality you want to be experiencing, you have to experience it. That's pure law of attraction. So, what you want to do is you want to get clear on that version of Maria that's living in Canada with her daughter. How does that version of Maria feel compared to how current version of Maria feel? How does she act? How does she behave? In what way is she different? And then you want to start being that person now, right? You want to start embodying that Maria 2.0 now and start acting as if, start taking the action steps as if, yeah, I'm getting what I want, right? So if you knew that in 1 month you were moving to Canada with your daughter, what would you be doing? Would you be shopping for apartments on the internet? Would you be looking for jobs? So start getting the ball rolling as if it's going to happen regardless of what your husband says or does. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yeah. So in a nutshell, it's about, instead of trying to figure it out through like the action steps, instead of trying to convince your ex-husband through effort and hard work and whatever it is you think you need to do through action, it's taking a step back and then taking the vibrational action Does that make sense?
Yes, it does.
Yeah. Does that answer
Oh,
your question? Okay.
yes, thank you.
Yeah. And really
Thank you.
really pre-pave what that life looks like of you living in Canada. And just start just assuming, yeah, that's going to be me soon. I'm going to be living it. There's nothing that can stop me. And keep vibrationally tuning into that.
Great. So I'm gonna go into my second question.
Sure.
So right now, how do I prepare not to fall in an anxiety state if I'm not able to find a job by, let's say, August, which is the month where I have like budget. If I don't have a job from now until end of August, I will be in economic distress.
Yeah. And again, another question that I'm sure is relevant to a lot of people. So when it comes to fear, there's kind of two pieces of advice I give to people. So one is make sure you're making alignment a priority, because when you're in alignment, you're standing in your power. And that's when you get your best inspirations. That's when you get your strong intuition. That's when you experience the synchronicities. That's when you're blended with your inner being. So from that place of alignment, you'll know that you're standing in the strongest place possible to move down that path of least resistance in the most pleasurable way possible. So number one is getting out ahead of the fear by making sure you're making alignment a priority. And then second is exploring the fears with tools like the belief tree process or clearing techniques to clear out those fears, right? So I'm not sure how familiar you are with those processes, but for example, with the belief tree process, what you do is you ask that question, I feel unsafe. Anxiety is a feeling of unsafety. And then you say, what must I believe is true to feel unsafe, right? Or I feel unsafe because. And then you see what perspective pops up, right? And then if it's another fear or another emotion, you ask it again and you ask it again until at one point you'll get to a place where you'll be able to shift your mindset, choose a new perspective that will then release the fear. And if you can do some good clearing work and let that fear go, then it's not going to pull you out of alignment as much and get in your way as much. Does that make sense?
Okay, because I don't feel fear right now because I know that I have June, July, and
Yeah.
I know when the country opens, I know that new opportunities will come.
Yeah.
But I just don't want to get to the point where I'm just stressed about it.
Yeah. What I would do is I would just get clear on like, what do I want my life to look like in 3 months from now, 4 months from now, whatever timeline feels best for you. And like paint a picture of what that reality is going to be for you. Are you working? What are you doing for work? How much are you getting paid? And just choose with like a level of laser focus of like, this is what I'm experiencing and this is what it's going to be. And I'm not going to let anything in reality stop that from happening. Right? When I look at really successful entrepreneurs or really successful CEOs, the one thing that stands out is this level of laser focus of like, I'm going to get 100 customers and I'm going to keep that vision strong and I'm choosing that and I'm not going to let anything get in my way of landing 100 customers by the end of this year, right? So they've got this really strong laser focus, and you can have that strong laser focus on other topics. So you can say, no, there's nothing that's going to stop me. By the time September comes around, I'm going to be in my best, highest paying job ever, and there's nothing that's going to stop that. And the trick when you have that laser focus is don't allow yourself to allow laser focus to turn into effort and hard work. Allow that laser focus to drive you from a vibrational level. So you want to apply that vibrational productivity where you're just feeling relaxed, you're happy, and you're just expecting all of these things to work out in your favor.
Perfect.
Does that make
Just
sense?
taking notes. Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
totally. Awesome.
Okay. All right. Third question. So how do I recognize, because I know the opportunities are going to come.
Yeah.
So how do I recognize when the right opportunity knocks at the door, listen and seize it?
I would say excitement, impulse, Inspiration. If that opportunity feels so exciting and so joyful that you can take it just for the joy of the opportunity, that's my benchmark. So for me, everything that I do it for the journey of that thing itself. So if that thing isn't going to be fun and exciting for me, then it's not the right time to do it. Because when you're doing a task for the sheer enjoyment of the task, then you're moving through it from that place of alignment and that place that feels good. A lot of people, they'll like, if you're taking that task for an outcome, and if that outcome didn't happen, you wouldn't take that task, then that's a sign that you're taking it out of effort, and that's not the right path for you. So get into alignment. From that place of alignment, does that opportunity feel fun and exciting for me? And if the answer is yes, then go for it.
Okay.
Does that sound complicated or easy?
No. That's pretty straightforward.
Yeah, a lot of people will get too mentally caught up in their decision making, right? So there's an opportunity that comes up, and then they start weighing the pros and cons with their mind. They try to figure things out. They try to mentally rationalize. And life is so much simpler when you understand that you don't need to do any of that stuff. All you need to do is be in alignment, and your inner being is going to feed you those right impulses if it's the right thing for you.
Okay.
Awesome. Great questions.
Well, that's it. I have two more if we have more time.
Yeah, keep going.
Okay. So how do I start getting excited about working on my website? So about a year and a half ago, I started my website because I am also a makeup artist, and this is a hobby that I turn into a business, and I do from time to time. So I was very excited to start that project, but now that I have all this time in my hands, I'm not really excited to feed that website. So how do I get that excitement back?
So you never want to force excitement. So if something's not exciting right now, then it's not the time for you to get your hands in the clay and to work on it and do it for yourself. If your desire is to have a completed website, I would get clear on how that feels and be open to the universe to providing you with the complete website, maybe in some other way. Maybe you can connect with somebody that knows how to do websites and they offer to do one in an exchange, maybe for some makeup work. You have no idea all of the different ways a website could land in your lap. So what I would do is, if building the website isn't exciting, but having a website is, then set your intent of, I want to have a website and it's going to be the best website ever. And this is what it's going to look like. Inner being, I'm not sure how that's going to happen, but I want you to take it further and I want you to finish the job for me and then see what happens.
Yeah, I have the website. It's just that I don't like it that much, and I want to feed it. Like, I want to put content in it, but I feel like I should just hire someone to do it.
Totally. Yeah. Set your intent that your inner being adds a cooperative component for the perfect person to show up to help transform the website in the way that you want to have it transformed.
Okay. So the final question is also about motivation, and is how do I get motivation and overcome? I think it's fear about writing my book. I think I am meant to write a book about my life, and I just can't get.
So I love that story. So have you started writing?
Started somehow? No, because I don't know if how much I can share. Like, I'm shy.
Okay, so for me, you've seen my new book, right? Power Manifesting.
Yes.
So I wrote this book in 3 weeks. Okay. And the reason that book wrote itself so fast, that first draft, was because I wrote not for my audience, not for my kids, not for a publisher. You know who I wrote for? I wrote for me, right? Okay. I wrote just because I enjoy the process of taking ideas and taking stories and putting them on paper. So my advice for you is if you wrote just for you, if you got on your laptop and you just started writing a chapter, a story, an inspiration, not to share with anybody else, just writing it for you, does that feel scary?
No.
No. Okay. So, what if you decided that every week you would write 3 pages, 5 pages, 10 pages, whatever inspiration comes, and you just wrote this book just for you? And at some point when it's finished, if you feel like sharing it, you can share it. If you don't feel like sharing it, you don't. And you can kind of take it from there. How would that feel?
That's a great advice.
Yeah, because when you write for you, you'll be connected in that same way with your inner being that I was talking about earlier, of doing something for the pleasure of the activity rather than trying to make something that everybody's going to want to read or buy or etc. So my advice is just write for you.
Okay.
And that's going to create, when you write for you, that's, and you speak from your heart, that's where you're going to write your absolute best book possible.
Okay. Thank you.
Easy questions, easy answers. Anything else? Is that feels pretty complete for you?
That's it for
Awesome.
me today.
Awesome. So when you move to Canada, are you going to move somewhere close to here? Or where do you plan on moving? What city?
If I move, it will be Montreal, my
Awesome.
city.
Awesome. So you make sure you pre-pave and you write out what it's like for you to be living in Montreal and what that life looks like so you can start tuning into it.
Okay.
Awesome. Thanks
Thank
for playing with me.
you. My pleasure. Happy Wednesday.
You too.